Good morning. Happy Tuesday. Good to see everybody. Let's see who's in the chat this morning. Duke Nukem, what's up, buddy? Leo Lustig, good to see you, bud. Overboard Tech, Gamer Kid, All Track, what's up, man? Magic Lucky, Kyle Rosa, Max Voltage. Man, you're up early. Actually, you're always up early, but you just never hear this early, I guess. So, hello, good to see you. Mr. Yeti, Nick K, Dom G, and Sadie sometimes. Appreciate you all for hanging out. All right, let's see what we're looking like today. Actually, real quick before we get started, today I think is Amazon Prime Day. If you guys have anything that you need to purchase or you have purchased, check to see if it's on sale today, and then do as you will. I just saved like $600 on this pool we ordered. It was insane. I was like, really? I'm like, I am canceling this thing right now. So there's your warning. All right, let's check out Bitcoin, see how things are today. Bitcoin 30,377. It's up 0.42%. Ethereum 1867. We have Dogecoin, let's see, almost 6.5 cents. Litecoin 97 bucks. XRP 47. I'm wondering if Litecoin's really just gonna kind of float sideways and then after the halving, or if we'll see back over $100. I guess let's see. Hell yes, I made it today. Chris Hanley, good to see you, buddy. All right, let's see what we're looking like real quick. Fear and Greed Index, then we'll go to Crypto Bubbles. Fear and Greed, we're looking at 57 in the greed. I mean, realistically, it's been between 45 and 60, literally, in the past, like, 3-4 months. I don't even know. All right, let's check out Daily Earner. Let's see. Pull this up. All right, we have Solana is up 6%. Render's up 3%. What's that at now? What's that at now? $1.96. Solana. Is anybody holding Solana? 22.06. Nice. I don't know what's good price for that. I don't remember. This thing went up over $100, right? During the last bull run, if I'm not mistaken. And it like pumped pretty quick and then just kind of fell off. Matic 5%. We're looking at 73 cents, 73 and a half. Interesting. This is the new security they listed. Right? Yeah, I own Solana, said Carl Coate. Nice. Nice, nice. All right, let's real quick before we get into like the videos of today, I want to check out this over here. Hold on, let me see. Let me refresh this. Because there was definitely, there we go, some other stuff. This is a very strange headline. Yeah, interesting. Let's see. Mt. Gox. This is the one that I was actually really interested in. So I'm wondering, what do you guys think about this whole Mt. Gox thing? Repayment date looming. Is Bitcoin in trouble? So apparently, if you guys don't know what Mt. Gox was, it was like an exchange that got hacked and people lost a bunch of money, right? It's kind of weird, but to think that these people might get paid back, I don't know. It's kind of crazy. So it says, while the cryptocurrency community is actively discussing the upcoming Bitcoin halving in 2024, there is potentially another big market event happening this year. The trustee of the hacked Bitcoin exchange Mt. Gox is set to finally repay the exchange's creditors by the end of October 2023. If that happens, the cryptocurrency market could be significantly affected in several ways. Some industry observers agree. It says, founded in 2010, Mt. Gox was one of the biggest Bitcoin exchanges in the world, estimated to facilitate around 70% of all Bitcoin transactions before its implosion. Let's see. The now defunct exchange lost 850,000 Bitcoin, or 4% of all Bitcoin to be ever issued, or to ever be issued. That's a significant amount. 4%. Jesus. Does in a security breach in 2014, it said the event made Mt. Gox one of the biggest crypto bankruptcies of all time, which creditors yet to be repaid 9 years later. I didn't even think it was possible. Like, hold on. When it comes to crypto, how are these people getting paid back? I'm so confused about that. It makes no sense to me. I don't get it. What's up, DJ? Good to see you, buddy. Mr. Rood puts, like, it's weird, right? Like, you'd think like all these people in FTX, right? Like, they show a whole list right here. So FTX, Three Arrows Capital, Genesis, Voyager Digital, BlockFi, Core Scientific, Celsius, Babel Finance, Bottlenaut, and ZipMex. It shows the bankruptcies as of July 2023. Like, would you assume these people are going to get all their money back? All the people that were effed in FTX? For lack of a better term, right? It's crazy to think that people in 2010 are going to get paid back in 2023. I wonder if this is even going to happen. I don't know. You guys let me know what you think in the chat. Let's see. As the current Mt. Gox repayment deadline is scheduled to occur in roughly 3 months, Cointelegraph has reached out to some crypto executives to find out what to expect from the anticipated Mt. Gox repayment. What will the investors do once they get their Bitcoin back? Dude, nobody knows. This is stupid. Nobody knows. But regardless, like if they pay this back, that would be a huge deal and a big bite in the ass, I think, to Bitcoin, to be honest, because that's a lot. Well, like you don't just make Bitcoin up, right? But like they obviously are taking either, I mean, they're purchasing it and then just dispersing it back out, or they already have it and they've been collecting it for the past 10 years or 13 years, and then I don't know. It makes no sense to me. You can't just print it out of thin air, so I don't know what the hell they're doing, but whatever is what it is. All right, let's see if there's anything else before we get into this stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what this is all about. this guy Jesse is getting a little fired up this morning or last night. I don't know what this is all about. Just says drainers coming for your crypto wallets near you. The crypto wallet drainers or sweepers are malicious smart contracts that can quickly empty crypto wallet of its funds and are a standard tool for phishing scammers. Never heard of this. Never heard of this at all. The crypto drainers Pink Drainer, Inferno Drainer, Pussy Drainer, and Venom Drainer have together stolen 66.4 million in total since around the start of 2023, according to Dune dashboards. Complied with Web3 anti-scam platform Scam Sniffer. Dude, this whole article seems like it's just weird. It's just so strange to me. I don't know what's happening here. Anyways, all right. F it. Let's get into crypto world. I want to know what they have to say. So they say Matic jumps 3% and the SEC says Coinbase knew it could have violated law before suit. So let's see what they have to say here. If you guys have any questions during, please, please just ask in the chat or at me. Overboard Tech, you cut it out right now. All right, let's do it.
Today, the SEC claims Coinbase knew it might have been violating federal securities laws prior to the regulator's lawsuit. RFK Jr. says he wasn't an investor of Bitcoin, but CNBC has found financial records tell a different story.
I heard
and
that,
Munib
actually.
Ali, the co-founder of Trust Machines, breaks down what new confidence in crypto from big names in finance means for the digital asset industry. Welcome to CNBC's Crypto World. I'm Tanea McKeel. Major cryptocurrencies pretty flat to start the week. Bitcoin continuing to show resilience, however. It dropped just a bit, trading around $30,300 as of noon Eastern. Ether rose slightly, trading around $1,870. And Polygon's Matic token shot up nearly 3% following news that Polygon Labs' former chief legal officer was promoted to the company's new CEO.
Yay.
Okay, let's talk about the top stories. The SEC now claims that Coinbase knew it may have been violating federal securities laws before the regulator hit the crypto exchange with a lawsuit. In this filing from Friday, the SEC argued that Coinbase's actions clearly show that the crypto exchange understood that securities laws could apply to its listings years ago, but nevertheless made the calculated decision to take on this risk in the name of growing its business. The new document was in response to a previous Coinbase filing, which argued that the SEC did not have sufficient jurisdiction to bring its lawsuit, alleging the business operated as an unregistered securities exchange. A spokesperson from Coinbase pointed to tweets from Chief Legal Officer Paul Grewal, who said on Friday that the SEC, quote, ignores several things, including the agency's obligation to give due regard to the public interest and investor protection when they allowed Coinbase to list publicly over 2 years ago. He also argued that the SEC ignores the warnings of the Supreme Court against regulatory overreach in major questions reserved to Congress, among other examples. Next, Democratic presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and his campaign are trying to explain financial records uncovered by CNBC showing he invested in Bitcoin despite previous public statements claiming otherwise. RFK Jr. listed a brokerage account that held between $100,001 and $250,000 worth of Bitcoin as part of his June 30th financial disclosure report. That potentially contradicts his public comments at Bitcoin 2023 back in May, where he said he wasn't an investor. At the conference, he also said he would accept campaign donations in Bitcoin. The filing referenced in the CNBC report doesn't say when the Kennedy family purchased Bitcoin and how much they may have spent on their original investment. Now, hours after that story went up, the Kennedy campaign told CNBC that the Bitcoin investment was his wife's, but later said it was indeed Kennedy's investment and that the Bitcoin purchase was made after the speech in Miami and before the June 30th filing deadline. The chief ethics counsel for watchdog group Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington says the situation could represent a conflict of interest if Kennedy were touting Bitcoin on the campaign trail while his immediate family held the cryptocurrency. Finally, a new survey reveals 24 central banks will likely have digital currencies by 2030. This survey from the Bank for...
Real quick, that's like a new way of insider trading, I guess. That's probably what they're getting at, right? Like if you think about it, if he's holding or his family's holding a bunch of Bitcoin and he's kind of being an advocate of Bitcoin or crypto in general, I mean, I guess that's probably what they're getting at. It's kind of like an insider trading type thing. All right, let's continue.
Likely have digital currencies by 2030. This survey from the Bank for International Settlements was conducted late last year, and it pulls from 86 central banks from both advanced economies and emerging market and development economies. The BIS points out that the vast majority of central banks, 93%, have engaged in digital currencies in some capacity, with more than half reporting the emergence of stablecoins and other crypto assets as an accelerator. Another interesting point, 18% of central banks surveyed indicated ambitions to issue retail CBDCs in the near term. 16% said they will likely have a wholesale CBDC within the next 3 years. As for motivations, to make cross-border payments between financial institutions more efficient. And for retail CBDCs, respondents rated financial inclusion and payment efficiencies as priorities.
Interesting.
All right, on to our...
And I didn't mean insider trading. I meant like kind of market manipulation, right? Is that what you call it? I assume that's probably what you'd call it.
Main story. As finance titans like BlackRock and Fidelity have pushed again with their spot Bitcoin ETFs, many have claimed the move is good news for mass Bitcoin adoption. I spoke with Munib Ali, the co-founder and CEO at Trust Machines, for his take. Let's start with the institutions and the ETFs, because that is still top of mind for so much of our audience. How important is a Bitcoin ETF to you? How closely are you following this particular development? And do you think that after 10 years of attempts from the crypto industry that we might finally see one sometime soon?
Yeah, I think I've always held the view that it's a matter of when and not if. It has taken longer than I expected, right?
Very true.
Back in 2013, it felt like maybe in a couple of years we'll get one, and it's been almost 10 years. But I do think with every step we're getting closer and closer, right? So there's typically a review process, right? So if there is some sort of things that can be improved, people would generally go back, they will update their filing, and then they will just refile. And in my view, that's happening. And with every iteration, you're sort of like getting closer to it.
I've said this before here, but this idea that the institutions are coming now has really become this kind of meme in the crypto world. But in all seriousness, the thing that has really stood out to me more is given the regulatory scrutiny the industry has been under, and to have all of these institutions come out and raise their hand and say, hey, we think that crypto is serious and has a place in the future of finance. So what does, the institutions are coming mean to you?
I think specifically for the ETF, the interesting thing to me is the biggest difference between the spot and the futures ETF is for the spot one, someone like BlackRock with their ETF will actually have to figure out custody of Bitcoin. So they actually have to go figure out, how to hold Bitcoin. They probably have custodians and so on, but that is actually meaningful, right? Like now you're holding the asset, you have to connect to the network. And once that happens, I'm more interested in the signal that it sends to other folks who would now look to an entity like BlackRock and think that, oh, they're doing it, they figured it out. So can be, right? So it just gives the more traditional financial institutions, I think, a level of security and safety that if top firms like BlackRock are doing it, then this is something that is maybe mature enough now for other folks to also try and experiment with.
And speaking of adoption, we could talk about the price performance of Bitcoin. I think that a lot of the sources I speak to day in and day out kind of operate under this understanding that Bitcoin is a great long-term story, but in the near term, it's a little bit messy still. It's going to be volatile for a while. It's still young. The industry is still building foundations. So price aside, what does actual adoption of Bitcoin look like right now? And how do you measure that? What are the what are the metrics that you're looking at or the indicators that you're looking at to track Bitcoin adoption?
Yeah, so I think over the last 10 years, I've sort of like developed this mental model that for whatever reason, it might be the Bitcoin halving, so it might be something else. But historically, this industry sort of moves in 4-year cycles, right? The Bitcoin halving sort of like marks the start. And every cycle, depending on which data source you're using for these numbers, I typically discount them down a little bit because a Bitcoin address doesn't really mean a user. Users can have multiple addresses, or even if somebody is just getting access to their first Bitcoin and they just tried it, I don't think that's an active user yet, right? So I typically discount down the numbers a little bit. So last cycle, you might have seen reports citing as like 100 million users. I really don't think we have 100 million users. Maybe I think I'll be happy with even 10 million actual active users who are in Bitcoin. I think we're roughly around that ballpark. But the cycle before, the high end of it might be like 10 or 20 million numbers you might have seen. But the reality might be 1 or 2, right? Like in terms of how active they are or how engaged they are and so on. So I think, but there is a graph to plot here, like an approximate graph that we have gone from 1 million to 10, and a real 100 million or going into hundreds of million seems to be the next big step. And I think that one is critical, because you can't get to 100 million or more without actually going mainstream, right? This is the place where the average internet users would actually onboard, and the technology would have to be simplified enough for them to understand it, to be able to easily use it. And I'm really excited about that phase, right? Like, because I personally might be an early adopter, but I think the technology is not really real until it reaches mainstream. And I think that hundreds of millions of mark, which is basically the next growth cycle, is where this can happen. And I think over here, one big thing is that Bitcoin in its current form, like just with the L1, might not get you there. So we need much more mature Bitcoin L2s, things like Lightning, Stacks, and others, where the L2s can become mature enough where people can do like fast and cheap transactions and use Bitcoin in many applications.
I do actually want to turn back to price now, because just looking at the price alone, I think one thing that many investors struggle with is the narrative. And I think that there are certainly cases where people are trying a little bit too hard to kind of match the Bitcoin narrative to something they already know. But Bitcoin, sometimes it looks one way, sometimes it looks another way. Last year it traded in tandem with stocks. Now its correlation with stocks is at its, I think, August 2021 lows. So what is the investment case for Bitcoin? Like, what is the reason for investors, at least here stateside, to invest in Bitcoin?
Yeah, I think personally, like, my investment thesis for Bitcoin primarily is driven by the hard money use case, right? Like, it's a fixed supply asset. It's like gold. But the applications that you're able to build around Bitcoin actually basically make Bitcoin more useful. So think of this as like, if Bitcoin is like digital gold, just like with gold has use cases. Like, it is considered valuable because you can make jewelry out of it, or people can use it in many different ways. And that actually does add more value to gold. Similarly, building these applications, some of these are purely financial applications. So if Bitcoin is a financial instrument and there's better financial tooling available around Bitcoin, it just makes Bitcoin more valuable, right? So in that sense, like, I don't view this as a fundamentally different investment thesis personally. Like, I hold Bitcoin, and I think my thesis remains the same. It's not that suddenly Bitcoin is going to turn into a technology platform. That's not what Bitcoin is. But I think what's happening with these L2s and ordinals is there is better tooling available that makes Bitcoin a more efficient financial asset. And Bitcoin goes from just being something that is passive and cannot be deployed in a decentralized way to into liquidity pools and other types of financial instruments, to those things being possible in Bitcoin that actually grows the Bitcoin economy, grows the size of the pie for the Bitcoin economy, and that's a very healthy thing.
Okay, that's all.
That was pretty interesting. He made a couple good points. I mean, with the making it easier for people to get into Bitcoin, that's like a That really is a big deal, and that's what has to happen, to be honest, because your every average, Joe isn't going to figure out how to put like crypto on a ledger and just all this other shit. It would be a lot easier with the ETFs and everything becoming kind of mainstream. So it makes sense, but I don't know what you guys feel about that. It was kind of interesting. All right, let's see. Mr. Guy over at Coin Bureau, crypto news, Bitcoin, Ethereum prices, updates, Gemini versus DCG, and more. I don't know what DCG is. What is that? Is that another exchange, I assume? No idea. Anyways, let me see if there's anything in the chat quick before we continue here. Let's see. Mr. Who is it? Jose, thank you for joining this morning. First time making a live stream. Good to see you, buddy. Appreciate you. Hobbyist Miner, good morning. Sorry I didn't say hello first time. JJ Doc, what's up? Boomers will die off and Zoomers will take over. Yeah, most likely. Let's see. Digital Currency Group. Gotcha. Thank you, Carl Coat. Appreciate you. Solar Miner in Spain. Good day. Good to see you, man. Hodl 10% YOY. Nice. Let's see. Mr. Geek of All Trades, good morning. All right, let's get to this. So this is, again, Coin Bureau. Let's see what they have to say. I'm going to speed this up a little bit, I think. Actually, it's 20 minutes long. It should be all right. If I need to speed it up, guys, just let me know in the chat. We'll go from there. All right, let's do it.
Welcome to the Coin Bureau Weekly News Roundup. Here are the top stories in crypto.
I love how enthusiastic this guy is.
Crypto market shift. BTC and ETH move sideways as some altcoins start to rally, leading to speculation that alt season is imminent. Here's why it might be too soon to get excited. Strange Ethereum updates. Solana's co-founder claims that Ethereum could become a layer 2 for his blockchain, while Ethereum developers discuss circuit breakers for DeFi. What does this mean for ETH? Gemini sues DCG. One of the most regulated crypto exchanges sues one of the largest crypto companies following a multi-month tug-of-war over lost funds. How could this affect the crypto market? Yellen in China. US Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen sits down with China's top brass amid growing tensions between the world's two superpowers. Everything you need to know. And a closer look at last week's top-performing cryptos and where they could be headed next. All this and more in just a moment.
All right, is 1.25 too fast, or you guys good with that? 2x times 2, Nick, I would my brain would hurt. I'd be trying to 5 pounds of shit in a 10 pounds of shit in a 5 pound bag, you know what I mean?
Good morning, afternoon, or evening. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Guy. None of what follows is financial advice, and here is the news. Last week, the crypto market moved sideways due to mixed macro and crypto factors. On the macro side, 2 jobs reports for June were released. Now, jobs reports are significant due to the Fed's potential reaction to them. In short, fewer jobs equals bullish, more jobs equals bearish. Welcome to the modern financial system. Now, the first jobs report was published on Thursday, and it suggested that the US had added more than double the number of jobs investors were expecting for June. This caused the markets to dip because it led to speculation that the Fed would continue raising interest rates in response to economic strength. However, the second jobs report published on Friday painted a different picture. It suggested that the US had added fewer jobs in June than investors were expecting. This caused the markets to rally, but only slightly because the unemployment rate fell. The result is a 93% chance of a rate hike later this month. Meanwhile, on the crypto side, it was announced that BlackRock had refiled its application for a spot Bitcoin ETF with the SEC, a move that apparently occurred late last month but was only reported last Monday. In any case, this was bullish for the crypto market, along with all the other ETF-related announcements. On Friday, however, Gemini sued Digital Currency Group, or DCG, and its CEO, Barry Silbert. We'll come back to the details of the lawsuit later. All I'll say for now is that it was a very bearish announcement that essentially erased the gains that BTC had seen from the second jobs report and BlackRock's ETF refiling.
Bastards.
What's interesting is that Bitcoin dominance continued to hold steady, while Ethereum dominance saw a slight decline. If you've been keeping up with our weekly crypto reviews, you might recall that Ethereum dominance had risen slightly in recent weeks. Well, these dominance gains have likewise been erased. So, this raises the question of where Ethereum's market dominance went, given that Bitcoins continued to hold steady. Well, the answer seems to be altcoins, mainly competing layer 1s like Solana and Avalanche. This is fascinating considering that these competing layer 1s have seen extreme regulatory scrutiny of late. If you watched our videos about the SEC's lawsuits against Coinbase and Binance, you'll know that Sol was labeled as a security in both. Some exchanges, including Robinhood and Revolut, have since announced that they would be delisting Sol and other so-called crypto securities for retail users in the US. And therein lies the solution to this mystery. Although retail investors are being restricted from these cryptos, institutional investors are not. Considering there's been a resurgence in institutional interest in BTC since BlackRock's spot Bitcoin ETF filing, it's possible that this interest is spilling over slightly into alts. This would make sense for competing layer ones like Solana and Avalanche, since they've both been very popular with institutional investors in the past. Some would say that their recent price action is a sign of institutional accumulation, but as you'll see later, there is much more to this story. Speaking of Solana, co-founder Anatoly Yakovenko believes that Ethereum could become a layer 2 for Solana. Yes, you did hear that correctly. Ethereum becoming a layer 2 for Solana. In a tweet thread, Anatoly insisted that this is, quote, probably more likely than you might think at first glance. Obviously, almost every response to Anatoly's thread was, why would Ethereum ever do that? Many of the other responses pointed out the fact that, if anything, Solana should be a layer 2 for Ethereum. That's because Ethereum can arguably provide better security guarantees than Solana, and that is putting it mildly. Now, it's believed that Anatoly's ambitious idea is a tongue-in-cheek response to a comment by Ethereum creator Vitalik Buterin late last month. Vitalik said that he, quote, felt bad for Solana and other layer ones that are being targeted by the SEC. He said that this isn't how Ethereum should win. Notably, Vitalik added that, quote, this is especially true since the real competition is not other chains, it's the rapidly expanding centralized world that is imposing itself on us as we speak. Truer words have never been spoken, given that central banks are rushing to create a global CBDC system. More about that in the description. Moving on. Now, in actual Ethereum news, Ethereum developers have proposed a new standard, ERC 7265. The standard would make it possible for DeFi protocols to introduce a circuit breaker. Now, for context, circuit breakers are used to stop stocks from trading on exchanges when they're crashing too fast. In the case of ERC 7265, the purpose of the circuit breaker is to prevent a hacker or exploiter from draining funds from a DeFi protocol. This new Ethereum standard was reportedly introduced as a potential solution to all the DeFi hacks and exploits whose losses have totaled more than $3 billion to date. Not surprisingly, the proposal has been met with plenty of pushback from the crypto community. Critics have pointed out that it would make DeFi protocols no different from their centralized equivalents, while proponents...
Right, that's true. That would be more or less centralizing the whole DeFi space if they're going to be able to control that. I mean, I understand being safe, but like that's kind of
have pointed out that DeFi protocols wouldn't be obligated to adopt the new standard. That said, it probably wouldn't take long for this standard to become the, well, standard. Not only that, but the regulatory pressure on DeFi has been rising recently. Besides the SEC's recent lawsuit against the Barnbridge DeFi protocol, the EU's recently passed Data Act mandated a kill switch in smart contracts. Come to think of it, it's possible that the true purpose of this new Ethereum standard is to ensure that DeFi protocols on Ethereum can stay compliant with the Data Act. EIP 7265, which implements ERC 7265, effectively gives DeFi protocols the ability to implement a kill switch, something which could soon be required elsewhere.
How do you guys feel about that, actually? That's kind of weird, right? That's kind of going against what DeFi is all about. That's kind of weird. I mean, I understand trying to be safe and shit, but like, that's kind of controlling stuff in a sense where they shouldn't be controlling stuff. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that.
The good news is that this would result in more inflows to these DeFi protocols and to ETH, given that it's used as collateral and to pay for transaction fees. The bad news is that it could result in the end of financial freedom on Ethereum. For reference, financial freedom means the ability to use your assets however and whenever you want.
Well, let's be real. We're going to be effed anyways.
Switch would kill financial freedom, at least on the DeFi protocols that implement this new Ethereum standard. Note that you can learn more about what Ethereum has been up to lately using the link in the description. But back to DCG. As was mentioned earlier, Gemini sued DCG and its CEO late last week. The series of events that led up to the lawsuit are beyond the scope of this video, but the TLDR is that a DCG subsidiary named Genesis went under after FTX collapsed, taking Gemini Earn down with it. Initially, Gemini and Genesis were committed to working things out, as the saying goes. As time went on, however, it became clear that Genesis wouldn't be able to cough up the $1.2 billion it owes Gemini, even with financial help from DCG, which is one of the biggest companies in cryptocurrency. Since the start of the year, Gemini co-founder Cameron Winklevoss has been publicly calling out DCG and its CEO Barry Silbert, basically telling the former to pay up and the latter to resign. Early last week, Cameron posted his final public letter to Barry, telling him to come to the table or Gemini will sue. A few days later, Cameron followed through on his threat. Gemini sued DCG and Barry, alleging they defrauded Gemini. Cameron laid out the key allegations in a Twitter thread, and they were eye-opening. For starters, Barry allegedly convinced Gemini Earn to continue operating late last year. This was despite Barry allegedly knowing that Gemini Earn's counterparty, Genesis, was insolvent. For those unfamiliar, Gemini Earn allowed retail investors to earn a yield on their crypto. This was done by lending that crypto to institutional investors via Genesis, including Three Arrows Capital, or 3AC. As explained by Cameron in his thread, the collapse of 3AC last June blew a $1.2 billion hole in Genesis's balance sheet.
Real quick, I just want to let you guys know I'm having issues in the chat too. I just tried to type 3 things in a row, and it's giving me an error. So it's not just you guys. I'm not blocking anything, I promise. I got blocked too. It says error, try again. Weird.
Gemini alleges that Genesis insisted that it was business as usual, despite the loss, and that this was made possible by a now infamous $1.1 billion promissory note from DCG to Genesis. As the name suggests, a promissory note is, quote, a signed document containing a written promise to pay a stated sum to a specified person or the bearer at a specified date or on demand. Now, Gemini alleges that this promissory note was counted as an asset on Genesis's balance sheet, which is some questionable accounting to say the least. In sum then, Gemini wanted to shut down Gemini Earn last October. Barry allegedly convinced them to keep it running, allegedly while knowing that Genesis was insolvent. Then Barry, DCG, and Genesis allegedly misrepresented the promissory note as an asset, leading Gemini to believe that all was well. Now, if you're wondering why this lawsuit is so significant, this is in part because DCG holds a stake in some of the largest crypto companies and projects. If DCG is forced to sell some or all of its stake in these entities to plug the hole left by Genesis, it could hurt the entire crypto industry. The significance of the lawsuit is also due in part to one of DCG's largest subsidiaries, Grayscale, which issues GBTC, a pseudo-Bitcoin ETF that holds almost $20 billion worth of BTC. If Grayscale or GBTC somehow get caught up in the crossfire, it could do direct and indirect damage to BTC. Now, we'll be doing a deeper dive into what's going on with DCG later this week, so stay tuned for that. In the meantime, I suggest watching our most recent DCG update using the link in the description. Now, before we turn to the charts, I feel
like every other story, he's like, I got another video for that in the description. He does a great job with it, though. Guys, hit that like button. Appreciate you for hanging out.
Draw your attention to a significant geopolitical event that occurred over the weekend. I am, of course, referring to US Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen's visit to China, a move which comes amid unprecedented geopolitical tensions between the two countries. To put things into perspective, earlier this month, it was reported that the US was considering additional restrictions on the sale of microchips to China, namely those used in AI. China retaliated by announcing that it would be restricting the export of rare earth minerals used to make AI chips. In turn, the US retaliated by floating a proposal to cut China completely off from American cloud computing services such as Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure, and Google Cloud.
Oh, shit. I didn't even know all that was going on. Did you guys? That's crazy. So they told China they weren't going to give them chips anymore, and then China said, we're not going to give you the minerals to make the chips. So that's just like that's a shitty situation.
This would likely be devastating to China, given that these big three account for almost 70% of global cloud computing. It's against this backdrop that Janet arrived in Beijing. According to the New York Times, she met with the who's who of the CCP. This included the recently appointed governor of the Bank of China, a man who is reportedly behind the country's crypto crackdown and its crackdown on the housing sector. What's odd is that Janet only had 10 hours of meetings with the CCP's top brass. It should come as no surprise then that there wasn't much progress made on any particular issue. In fact, Janet seemed to double down on the US recent restrictions on China in a speech she made while on her visit there. Janet's continued hawkishness makes her entire trip seem rather odd. Logically, if China was on the ropes, then they would be sending personnel to the US for negotiations, not the other way around. And yet, Janet seemed abnormally happy when meeting with CCP leaders, at least on camera. Macro analyst Michael Howell believes the trip may be related to the recent weakness in the Chinese yuan. He believes that the US has been weakening the yuan with the help of Japan, and that Janet flew to Beijing to force concessions from the CCP in exchange for the US taking its foot off the neck of the yuan. However, it's equally possible that Janet flew to Beijing to ensure that they don't sell too much US government debt when trying to defend the yuan. This seems more likely considering that the Bank of China stepped in to backstop the yuan late last month by selling US bonds for US dollars to buy yuan. If you watched our video about the debt ceiling deal, you'll know that selling too much long-term US government debt could damage the US banking system. This is why the Treasury has been issuing short-term US government debt to refill its bank account, and why it can't allow China to sell too many bonds. In other words, there seems to be a high-stakes Mexican standoff between China and the US. The US is threatening to restrict China's access to chips and to weaken the yuan, while China is threatening to restrict the US's access to the minerals required to make chips and sell US bonds to strengthen the yuan. Believe it or not, but this could have a profound impact on crypto, hence why we'll also be covering it in a video later this week. Lots to stay tuned for.
Different video.
Turning to the charts then, we can see that BTC is sitting on the Bollinger Band moving average on the daily chart. This moving average has been a key zone of support and resistance in the shorter term. If BTC falls below it, we could see a short-term downtrend. If it bounces, expect a continued uptrend. As for ETH, we can see that it's been stuck below this Bollinger Band moving average on the daily against BTC for quite a while, and it appears that a squeeze is forming. This means that we could see an aggressive move to the upside or downside for ETH relative to BTC in the next week or two. So, watch out. By the way, if this analysis is what you crave, then you have to check out Dan on Coin Bureau Trading, a pro trader breaking down the charts on the daily. Link is in the top right. Anyway, moving on, last week's top-performing cryptos were Shiba Swap, Solana, MakerDAO, Convex Finance, and Avalanche. Starting with Shiba Swap, its BONE token appears to have pumped in response to the news that Shiba Inu's Layer 2 scaling solution, Shibarium, will be going live in August.
How many of you have Shiba or hold Shiba? Put a 1 in the chat if you do. That'd be awesome. I want to know how many of you guys actually hold Shiba.
The reason why BONE is pumping is because it will be used to pay for transaction fees on Shibarium. Finally, a meme coin with utility. Jokes aside, BONE's price action has historically been as unpredictable as most meme coins. Funnily enough, it appears to be in a long-term uptrend with higher lows, but it simultaneously is in a long-term downtrend with lower highs. This is creating a massive triangle pattern that could explode up or down. As for Solana, its Sol coin appears to have pumped in anticipation of the Solana Day conference, which will take place in Paris later this month, alongside the ETHCC event. According to the Bollinger Band indicator, Sol is overbought on the daily and is also struggling to get above a key zone of resistance around $21. If it manages to push past $25, it could go higher, but if it gets rejected, it's going lower, possibly lower than most people expect. When it comes to MakerDAO, its MKR token appears to have pumped in response to everyone using liquid staked ETH tokens as collateral to borrow MakerDAO's DAI stablecoin. In fact, wrapped staked ETH has surpassed ETH as the primary collateral for DAI loans. MKR's weekly chart presents a mixed picture. On the one hand, it's overbought and is struggling to get above that key level of 1K. On the other hand, it's on the brink of a massive squeeze, meaning that if it does get above that key level, it could rally for weeks to come. But a rejection would crush it. Next up, we have Convex Finance's CVX token, whose pump is unexplained. Our best guess is that it has to do with the recent exploit of the multi-chain bridge, something that affected Curve Finance, which is intertwined with Convex Finance. The thing is that the exploit is bearish, not bullish. Regardless, CVX rallied, but this rally could be short-lived. That's because it's below the Bollinger Band moving average on the weekly and just finished printing a bearish candlestick pattern. When you throw that squeeze into the mix, CVX could see more losses if it doesn't get above that moving average ASAP. And finally, we have Avalanche, whose AVAX coin appears to have pumped because of a recent Avalanche event in Vietnam. It definitely helps that AVAX was one of the only Ethereum rivals that wasn't labeled as a security by the SEC in its aforementioned lawsuits against Binance and Coinbase. Unfortunately, AVAX's weekly price action paints a different picture. It's been stuck below the Bollinger Band moving average for a few weeks now and is in the middle of a massive squeeze. If it can't get above that $15 level and stay there for a few weeks, it could squeeze to the downside. And note that if you want to know why cryptos are pumping in real time, you can join the Coin Bureau Telegram channel. The link will, of course, be in the description.
Ugh, Telegram. Boo.
And that is all for today's Coin Bureau.
All right, that's it. Thank you, Mr. Guy, over at Coin Bureau. Interesting. Some interesting stuff. I didn't know there was a Solana Day. Did you guys know about that? Pretty weird. Pretty weird. Also, if you guys don't know, if anyone's just joining, so there is, we talked about, let's see, this, whatever the hell this is. Not going to go to that. Mr. Rud Puts, thanks for the €2.49. You're awesome, buddy. Appreciate it.
Eagle, Smeagol, middle finger, A-I, Shiba to the full moon with face. Swag, egg.
Full moon with face, he says. Oh, that's right. Thank you so much, Mr. Rudputs, for the 249 euro. You're awesome, buddy. You don't have to donate. You know that. This Mount Gox thing, if anybody doesn't know, so like anybody that may have been affected by this, they're supposed to pay people back by October 2023. It's kind of interesting. I don't know if this is like actually going to happen. I'm sure nobody knows if it's actually going to happen, but I'll put this link in the live chat if anyone's interested. I'll put it in what's it called, in the description below as well after the fact. And then also there is today's Amazon Prime Day, if I'm not mistaken, so you guys can get cheaper things. So I actually we ordered a pool, like a massive, like, you know, those Intex pools. It's like 24 feet by like 12 feet wide or 9 feet wide or something. I think it's 12. I don't know. Anyways, it's a pretty big pool. I saved like $600 on it. I looked at it today. I was like, what the hell? Why is this thing $600 off? So I friggin' just canceled the order and reordered it again. Saved $600. I was like, that's crazy. So if anybody ordered anything significant on Amazon, check the prices today, because that's a pretty big deal. But all right, do you guys have any last questions before we get out of here? Unfortunately, I got a jet because my wife has to get to work, and yeah, I got to take care of the kids. So let's see. Yeah, some serious deals right now. Seriously, Ebon, I was looking at, I ordered RAM last night too for my PC, and I was looking at that to see if that went on sale, but it didn't. So I was like, okay, I won't return that, but I was definitely willing to return it if it was on sale. Let's see. Check the day after Prime Day. I found stuff the day after even cheaper. Get out of here. Really? Steven Cicero? I didn't know that. That's cool. Let's see. Mark said, looking at buying the Cisco SF110D-16 unmanaged switch. Any advice on it? I have no idea what that is. Mr. Yeti, that is a question for you. You're a Cisco guy, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. Game was smoking in $99 for a Samsung 2TB M.2. What? No. Is it really? I gotta look. Hold on. Let me make sure. Let me see. 2TB M.2. I'll put in Samsung. Let's see. I can actually show you guys. All right, there we go. Let's see. This is, oh wow, that's really cheap. That's really cheap, actually. 107 bucks. Evo Plus. What is up with this? What's the difference here? Why is this one cheaper? Something's fishy. See, they're usually $200. Wow, that's really cheap. That's crazy. Yeah, guys, today Amazon Prime Day, so if you have anything you guys need to save money on, definitely look. That's wild. What's this one? This one's 1 terabyte. This one's 2 terabytes. Crucial. Has anybody used this? 80 bucks. That's a freaking good deal. Damn. And then this one right here, actually, I was thinking about getting one of, I think it was this one. No, maybe it wasn't. I can't remember. It was like 80 bucks. Jeez, this one's still, that's crazy. I need to get some M.2s though, for sure. Let's see. 3,500 megabytes is old tech. 5,000 megabytes is new. Okay. Let's see. Hold on. Let me, just because I want to see where this thing. Hold on one second. Let me click on one of these. What is this music for one? What the hell's happening? I don't know if you guys can even hear that, but it's absolutely awful. All right, let's see. Let me click on one of these real quick. Try to find a cheap one. 1 terabyte's only 50 bucks though. Let's see. So you're saying 3,500's old. I gotta find a 5,000, but I don't know if there is. I don't see one. Let's click on this one. I'm just trying to make sure it doesn't show like anything specific. All right, I'm not signed in, so it's fine. Let's see. All right, so this, looking at whatever. This shit. Yeah, right. Where does it say? Oh, where does it say what it is? Oh, is this no, never mind. Max speed. Is it 5,000's new? You want 5,000? Where is the see more? Oh, right here. No, 35. It still says 35. Yeah, 3,500. Gotcha. So that's not good, I guess. Not good. We were just looking at the M.2s. So today's Amazon Prime Day. So you can get some sick deals on M.2s. 2 terabyte Evo. That's like a really good deal for 80 or 100 bucks. This one says 80 something, but somebody said 3,500 was old tech. I don't know the difference. No idea. I think it's fine. No. Gen 3, it is very good. You want 980 or 990 if you game. I wouldn't be gaming off of it. I wouldn't be gaming off of it, but I would probably use it for what the hell did I need it for? Oh, I need one for my the future bit Apollo miner that I haven't set up yet. I need one of them for those. I need a 1 terabyte one. And then, or a minimum of 1 terabyte for that. And then what did I need another one for? I needed another one. I can't remember why. I can't remember why. No idea. Drawing a blank. I think I need normal hard drives. Actually, Geek of All Trades, do me a favor. Can you send me a link of the hard drives I need for the server you sent me? Again, please. If you can find a deal. Shoot it this way. Let's see. I have a few 970s. Nice. Yeah, I need to. I like the Evos. The Samsung Evos. I've never had an issue with any of my 970s. I have one of them in this PC. No. Maybe. I can't remember if I have one in this PC or not. I think I do. Pretty sure I have an Evo in this PC. Yeah, I do. Actually. The other. What was the other one? They have Evo and another Quantum. Is that it? Is that what it is? Evo. Samsung like Quantum or some shit. That's like the lesser version. If I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I mean, this is a Pro 980 Pro. Is this one better? I assume 980 higher number. I don't know if it's better or not. Who knows? So this one shit. Oh, this one says M.2 2280 up to 5150. I don't know if that's good or not. WD Black. What's this? Does anybody know? Is this any good? This WD Black SN770. Never. Oh, this is what I was thinking of. The QVO. I don't know why I said Quantum, but it's QVO. That's the one I was thinking of. That's it. Let's see. Avoid QVO if you are doing any data intensive tasks. Okay, so interesting. Did not know that. Very interesting. What is this one? This is a, oh, it's 250 gigabytes. Man, but yeah, there's some good deals, guys. You could save some good money today on Amazon. So go check that stuff out. Hopefully you guys save some money on it. Hopefully it works out for you. Let's see. Geek of All Trades said, did my link come through in chat? I have no idea. I have no idea. I could look. Give me a second. Let's see. Let's see. And then I really get a jet. In this chat, you mean? Oh, it did. Ah. That's what you're talking about. Why'd you send me this? This is what I need? This? This is what I want? That's pretty good. Damn. 70 bucks? That's really... So wait, I put this in the server? Or are you trolling me? I thought it was going to be like a normal hard drive, like spin and rust bullshit. I thought that's what you had to put in that thing. I could put this in there. Oh, there's 2 terabyte. Yeah, go dropping affiliate links. It says Retro Mike. Dude, these things are sick though. I mean, that's 1 terabyte. I mean, 2 terabytes is 129. What's the, so the 990 Pro I assume is like really good. Never used it, so I have no idea. So that's cool. You'll need a PCIe adapter if you want to put it in the server. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. It's Gen 4. Yes, that is a PCIe Gen 4, fastest for SSD that you were saying you needed. Yeah, so I could put this in the server though, Mr. Geek of All Trades. What do I just get, like an adapter in that? You know the tray? You know what I'm talking about? Like all those 8 trays, like for actual hard drives. Can I just get an adapter to put an M.2 in that thing? All right. Wasting my time now. He said no, for the server, just get 10 KSAS. That's more than enough for most things. All right, just send me the link so I can see if they're on sale today, because I have no idea. I have no idea what I need. I have zero idea, but this is a good deal, guys. For real, 70 bucks for this one. That's a real good deal. So I might look into getting that, actually. 59% off. That's insane. All right, guys. Anyways, have a good day. Hopefully you guys enjoy your Tuesday. I'll see you guys bright and early tomorrow morning. I'll try to get some shorts out today if I can. If not, I'll see you guys then. So have a good day and peace out. Hit that like on the way out, please. Appreciate you guys. Drive safe to work. Peace.